The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Arctic Fantasy. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at Arctic Fantasy with the promo code MLB SGPN. And welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is currently Sunday afternoon, June 29th, around 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm road subject Scott Reichel, joined by Dylan Rockford, and together we're going to break down the games for the Monday card. Dylan, how's it going with you? What's up? How'd you enjoy the UFC card last night?
Oh, it was great. It was actually probably one of my favorite cards of this year. Felt like every fight delivered or some storyline to it. Ilya Tapore is just, he's the man. I know I enshrine Max behind me, but man, and he walked through him. So it was great. Pantoja's good too. Card delivered. It's good to be back though. I haven't been on in a while, but it's good to be back. And Mets still stink. How about yourself?
Yeah, overall, can't complain too much. I went solo for a couple shows in a row over the last few days, so nice to have a co-host again. But overall, can't complain. Yankees did win a series against the A's. Ended up seeing the UFC card feature a bunch of stoppages. I would say that the favorites were, I'd say, underpriced. I parlayed a couple of the favorites together for free money, and that worked out pretty well. Cara France should probably never get a title shot ever again. I thought that the Oliveira decapitation went the way that I thought it would. I thought that Taporio would destroy him. And I had RoboCop by knockout. So overall,
you had a good night.
I did. It was about a +5 something parlay. So that worked out well for me. But overall, once again, that was definitely a fun time. I had a friend that came over from high school. Well, I hadn't seen in a while. So that was definitely nice. Besides that, though, we'll talk about once again a couple of the results from today before we get into the actual games for tomorrow. So starting off with the actual games so far that finished, the White Sox actually won a series against the Giants. The Astros won 2-0. The Reds beat the Padres. The Blue Jays beat the Red Sox. Red Sox still stink. Baltimore won a series against Tampa. You saw Philly beat the Braves 2-1. Yankees won 12-5. I believe Judge homered twice in that game. Cardinals won 7-0. Couple games going on right now, but the main story, I think, is involving your team, who called a players-only meeting yesterday and then lost by 11 runs. Yeah. So anything you want to talk about with your team?
No, they're just a pathetic team. I mean, what was the meeting called for? Apparently 6 to 7 players stood up and said something serious, apparently, but nothing got through because they lost by 11, got swept. It was probably one of the most lopsided series this year by the Mets. I mean, you would think the Pittsburgh Pirates are in first place, one of the best teams in the league right now. I think they outscored us like 30-4 or something like that. So really bad. It's just pathetic. They're just not good right now. So I don't know what needs to happen, but they do not look good.
Yeah, I believe I tweeted out in the middle of the game today. The next time that you have a players-only meeting, you should make sure you do it after Frankie Montas starts your last game.
Yeah, he's terrible too.
Not a great choice when you have a players-only meeting and you give up 5 runs in the first inning.
Yeah, and I feel bad for Griffin Canning. He tore his Achilles. He's done for the year. He was having a pretty good season, and we're riddled with injuries right now to our starting pitching. We need Senga back, and we need Sean Manaea. I know he had but he had a minor setback, so he hasn't been throwing in the past few days. So we'll see when we bring him up. But yeah, we're hurting right now.
Yeah, definitely looked that way over the last few days. Anyway, before we get into any of the games for the card on Monday, a reminder that we only have 8 games. We are missing lines on 3 of them, so apologies, but nothing we can do about it. Hopefully get more lines over the course of the show. Before we get into the actual games, though, a reminder that we are having a great new free contest because the NASCAR in-season tournament is happening, and we are running a free contest. Head over to sportsgamepodcast.com/NASCAR contest to get in on the action for a chance to win a $200 gift card, and make sure to subscribe to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Moving on to the games on the card, starting off with the Padres taking on the Phillies. For this one, you have undecided against Wheeler. We do have no lines in this game, so this is where we're going to start. I see a total, but no actual side, which is kind of weird. I see the total at 9 in this game. I don't have a side, but to be honest, I wouldn't back the Padres anyway because that team is really not good right now.
I see some lines for the side if you want.
What do you have for Philly.
Minus 210, plus 176 for the Padres.
And you have the over-under being set at 9?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have a run line on that by any chance?
Yeah, so minus 1.5 is at minus 110 for the Phillies. Plus 1.5 is at minus 110 too.
All right. So I'm going to ask you, though, for this one, because San Diego has been really bad lately. We saw them lose 2 out of 3 to the Reds. They were able to beat the Nationals. Didn't look great, though, in that series. Right now, they are 7 games over. They're 6.5 behind the Dodgers. They're half a game ahead of the Giants. But the Phillies have looked pretty good lately. And we know the
Yeah.
Phillies are a good home team. So I like Philly in this game. I don't think it matters who's pitching for San Diego. So I'll go Philly minus 1.5, but I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, that's what I was going to take. As long as I could get a minus 120 or better on the run line, I probably would take that. So minus 110, I'm seeing over on FanDuel. I don't mind that. I thought it was going to be Ryan Burgett for the Padres, but I think they just put him on the 15-day IL. So, but you got to imagine the Phillies, they're going to be happy. They won today 2-1. Finally coming home after that long road trip. They are a much better team with Wheeler on the mound. He's been dominant this month. Bullpen still worries me a little bit for this Phillies team, but against a Padres team who they average less than 4 runs per game on the road, it doesn't really worry me that much. So we don't have a pitcher for them, but like you said, I don't think it really matters. So I'll take Philly on the run line here. They are playing a little better.
Yeah. Moving on, I also like the under in the game. I think 9's too high with this Padres offense in current form. Moving on to the Cardinals taking on the Pirates. Pirates are surging, apparently. You're looking at the actual money lines. The Cardinals are minus 120. The Pirates are plus 100. You have Fetty against Heaney. Now, stats-wise, both pitchers pretty similar. Fetty 3-7, 4.11 ERA. Heaney 3-7, 4.48 ERA. For the over/under in the game, I see 8.5. I see about minus 105 on the under and minus 115 on the over. I'm going to ask you, Dylan, because I think at first glance there's value on Pittsburgh. Fetty was really, really bad last start against the Cubs. He got shelled. A 3 2/3, 7 earned, 3 home runs. He was okay before that, but I'm not a big Fetty guy in general. I think that Heaney is fine. Once again, both pitchers were not good last start. In fact, Heaney has allowed 7 earned in his last 2 starts, in each of his last 2 starts. So last 2 starts, 8 innings pitched, 14 runs allowed. I think I like the over in the game in general. I don't want to lay 125 with St. Louis, but I think it's Pittsburgh or pass for me. But I like the over in the game because both pitchers not in good form. I think that you can see either pitcher get shelled. That wouldn't shock me either. But if Pittsburgh is able to keep the offense going for another day or so, this game could go off the rails based on the current number. I can see each team in theory getting to 4, and you get an automatic winner at that case. In that case, so give me the over in this game at 8.5.
Yeah, I love this spot for the Pirates. I only made the Cardinals a minus 110 favorite here on the road. Plus, Andrew Heaney, much different pitcher at home than he is on the road. Yeah, it's been a tough couple starts for him. You mentioned giving up 7+ runs in the last few starts, but they were all on the road. At home, I think he could keep the Pirates in it, and with that offensive power that they've shown these last few games, 30-4 they outscored the Mets. 30-4. That's not a typo. So it's crazy with the way they're swinging the bat right now. I really think they're live. Cardinal, and I also think this is a good matchup for Heaney. The Cardinals, they struggle against left-handed pitchers. Believe it or not, the Pirates are 2 games above 500 now at home, so they're scoring runs. With Heaney at home, I think he is the better pitcher between him and Eric Fetty. I'll trust the Pirates. I think they keep it rolling here. So Pirates first 5+1/2. Pirates money line. I like the Pirates here.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game, Yankees taking on the Blue Jays. For this one, Yankees did end up winning a series over the weekend. So did Toronto, mainly because the A's and the Red Sox stink. But either way, you have Rodon pitching against Scherzer. For the actual lines, I don't see any. I don't know if you see anything there, but I don't see any lines.
Yeah, no, I don't see anything.
All right, so assuming the Yankees will be favored in this game, not by a lot, but I do think with Scherzer barely having any sample this season and also not being good, 5 innings, 3 earned last start against the Guardians, so he was fine, not great, but still. Rodon's been good this season, 9 and 2.92 ERA, gave up no earned in his last start against the Reds. I do want to ask you, though, for this matchup, because we don't have the lines, I'm assuming the Yankees will be like minus 140 maybe? Is that fair?
That's literally what my numbers made the Yankees a minus 140 favorite.
So that was going to be my guess, but you have any thoughts?
Yeah, real quick, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it was Stroman going to make his first start. Why'd they push him to today? Do you
Um,
know?
I'm actually not sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know Stroman was really bad in his last rehab start, so
Mhm.
I actually don't know how stretched out he actually was. So maybe because he didn't pitch much in that
Yeah.
final rehab start because he got shelled, they just said, you know what, screw it, we'll just bring you up a day early. I'm not sure to answer that
Yeah.
question, but it worked out. They won today,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, definitely. And their bats broke out as well. So Max Scherzer, in my opinion, he really hasn't looked good in his first two starts. He really doesn't go that long either. And the Blue Jays lost both their starts. I get it, they're much better in Toronto than they are on the road, but Yankees rake on the road. They're hitting above 260 on the road. They just put up double-digit runs today. I don't know. I just don't think personally the Blue Jays offense could keep up with the Yankees right now if everything stays the way it should be. I think the Yankees should be favored, but nothing above a minus 140, like Scott said.
yeah. I think that I'll go with the Yankees here, but I think the game should be entertaining.
Yeah.
So I'll go with the Yankees. I just don't trust Scherzer enough, who's barely
Yeah,
pitched this
same.
season. So I think that's the main reason why I'll go with the Yankees in that one. Before we get into the remainder of the card, reminder they're brought to you by our sponsor, which is MyBookie. Because they're available a ton of locations. Use them to bet on baseball, to bet on WNBA, to bet on golf, to bet on football, UFC, you name it. They're also available in a ton of locations. Use crypto for deposits, fast payouts. When you sign up, though, for your account, just go to SGPN to get a 100 match up to 1K. Terms and conditions apply with the G promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Circa, because they're still hosting the Ultimate Fanciful Contest for a chance for a 12-person league. Draft for Vegas, chug VIPs for the stake. Let them ride from the airport to 5K tab from Stadium Swim. I know it'll stay for you and your 11 league mates. When you sign up, though, don't forget to use the link sportsgamepodcast.com/Circa to sign up for the free contest. You can always get 15% off everything at Circa Properties with code SGP15. But once again, sign up for the contest at sportsgamepodcast.com/Circa. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Finished going through the first couple games on the card for Monday. Time to keep rolling. Moving on to the Reds taking on the Red Sox. You have Burns against Crochet. Fun pitching matchup for this one. You have the Red Sox at minus 180, minus 190. You have the Reds at around plus 160. For the over-under, I see 8. Now, Burns had a pretty weird MLB debut against the Yankees this past week because he struck out the first 5 guys that he faced. And then he still got a no decision, and he still gave up 3 runs. So he got off to an insane start, and then the Yankees got to him in 1 inning. Didn't matter anyway, because the Yankees bullpen blew the game. Or I should say, it was the bullpen. I think that was the game Loizaga blew. But anyway, point is the Yankees ended up blowing the game, but you saw the Reds look pretty good over the last week. They look good against the Padres, look good against the Yankees. They have been in good form as they have won 5 of their last 7. As for Boston, Crochet's been really good. He might win the Cy Young, who knows? But off the last couple starts, he's given up one. He's given up 1 run or less in 3 straight starts. He's walked 4 guys, struck out 25 in those 3 starts, and he's also gone 22 and a third, giving up 2 total runs in his last 3 starts. So he's been really good. Boston can't really hit. I think the price, though, is massive for Boston at minus 190. This team isn't any good. This team can't hit. So I'm not going to lay 190 with a team that can't hit. So I think it's Cincinnati or pass. I prefer the under in this game. I know it's a whole number here at 8, which might seem a bit intimidating. Crochet's been great. I think Burns can mow down some batters in this lineup. Boston can't hit, though. That's concerning. I'll go with the under at 8.
Yeah,
So,
there's 8.5 out on ESPN Plus. So it's a little chalky at minus 130 if you're willing to pay. But, I know the Red Sox are really not playing well right now. They lost again today.
yep.
But Garrett Crochet, he's been fantastic. You're right. I do think even I see minus 180. Even that's a little chalky. I only made him a minus 165 favorite. It's getting to the point where I might have to take a sprinkle on the Reds. You said it. They have been playing well, but Garrett Crochet, maybe it's a first 5, but he's been great at home. I just worry about the run support that he might not get. So, I honestly don't trust the Reds either. I mean, they're not scoring a ton of runs. They stink against lefties, only hitting 218 on the year. So I don't know. Chase Burns, it's only his second start. It's the first one on the road for him. I got to see him a little more before I start to back him. But I'll probably be on Boston first 5. I think that maybe get the number down a little bit. But other than that, probably not going to play this game. I think Boston's too favorite of a heavy favorite.
Yeah, I do think that Burns, though, can strike out a bunch of guys here, so I
Yeah.
don't mind the strikeout props potentially for both guys in this matchup.
Yeah.
But I do think it should be a pretty competitive matchup just based on how low scoring I'm expecting it to be. But I think there's value on the Reds. I just think the
Yeah.
price is a little bit too large on the Red Sox, despite not playing good baseball basically since the Devers trade. So I'll go with the Reds once again for
Yeah.
that road game. Moving on to the taking on the Rays, you have Lopez against Rasmussen. You have Tampa minus 185. The A's are plus 155. For the over/under in this game, I see 8.5. Rasmussen's been great this season. 7-5, 2.45 ERA. Bit of I'd say an issue long term is the lack of an actual amount of length because he somehow only ended up throwing 62 pitches last start, and he was great. 5 innings, 2 hits, and no runs, but he got pulled after 62 pitches. So I don't really know what that was about, but the point is he tends to go 5 innings, and maybe that's just the plan they have to avoid him third time through the order. But either way, Lopez is pitching for the A's, and he's been incredible over the last few outings. He has given up a total of 1 earned run in his last 4 starts combined. So he's been an absolute monster. I like the under in this game. First 5 under, maybe. I think both pitchers should go pretty well here. The A's offensively woke up for 1 game, basically. Doesn't mean much, excuse me, but I do think that Tampa, where Rasmussen should go fine. I like the under. I like Lopez a lot, though, but I do think Rasmussen can match him. So I'll go with the first 5 under in this matchup. Give me a low-scoring start to this game.
Yeah, under is a good play. I set my total at 8.1 for an 8.5, so I do like that. It's a small maybe pizza bet, but I'll take the Rays on the run line here, getting plus money. Rays are still a wagon, and you mentioned it. Rasmussen has been great at home for the Rays. A's do struggle to hit the ball on the road. They're hitting 235 away from Sacramento. I worry about their bullpen as well. A lot of guys got used up today in that beat down against the Yankees. So I think the game could get ugly kind of late. So I do like your first 5 play. But at plus money, I'm going to back the hotter team with the more consistent offensive bats and the better bullpen. So Rays minus 1.5 at plus money for me.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game, you have the Orioles taking on the Rangers. So for this matchup, you're looking at the pitchers here. You have Rogers against Corbin. Minus 110 on both sides. Saw the Orioles win a series against Tampa over the weekend, and we ended up seeing the Rangers go back to under 500. They are playing right now. They are tied 1-1 in the 10th. So you might see Corbin go some distance because they might be using a bunch of relievers later on today. But for the matchup itself, the over-under in this game is set at around 9. I see some juice, though, minus 135. The 8.5 is at plus 105 on the under. So you have a couple options there. Rogers, though, was really good in the last couple of outings, and it was a bit unexpected. I'll put it that way, because Rogers, we saw, was really bad last year. They traded for him. He was terrible. But so far this year, he has made 3 starts. He was really bad in one of them, but he's given up no earned in the other 2. So he was great against Texas, coincidentally, about a week ago. 8 innings, no runs. Texas can go for revenge in this one in Texas. Corbin, though, like Rogers, did face off against the opposition last start. He was not good, though. 5 innings and 9 hits, 5 runs against the Orioles. I'll ask you, because the Rangers, despite being a bad team, are actually decent at home. Baltimore is 8 under on the road. Texas is 1 under overall, but they're 7 over at home. So home fields actually mattered for them. I'm going to go Baltimore, though. The bats have actually been pretty good for Baltimore lately, and that was why they were able to beat Tampa. They had that 6-0 comeback, scored 22 runs on Friday. But Baltimore has been bad all season. They've looked a little bit more respectable recently. They're not a good team, but I have seen some type of positive signs of them not being a complete walkover, basically.
Mm-hmm.
They're a bit feisty. I think they can score some runs. Texas can hit to save their lives in any given game. And Corbin might have to go distance, and he was not good against this team in the last start. I think it's a pretty good spot for Baltimore, actually. I'll take the Orioles.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the other side. I'm going to take Patrick Corbin here, minus 110. My numbers made him a minus 130 favorite. I know he wasn't good in his last start versus the same Orioles team, but that was on the road. And like I always say, pitchers are much different home and away. At home, he's been a backable pitcher, I would say. And I feel like the Rangers are playing better as of late. Their bullpen has looked great. And they're holding leads, and they're just finding ways to win. Yesterday in the extra innings, they found a way to win. Today, hopefully they find a way to win. So, they're just finding ways to win. And Orioles, they struggle against left-handed pitchers. You mentioned it earlier. They're still under 500 on the road. I just think this might be a good spot for the Rangers. Minus 110, I think it's a very fair price. I agree with you. The Orioles are scoring some runs. Maybe Patrick Corbin could have a little revenge in his eyes here, but I'm going to back the Rangers here at home.
All right. Moving on to the next game, you have the Royals taking on the Mariners. For this one, you have Waka against Kirby. I see Seattle minus 160. I see Kansas City plus 135. The over/under is set at 7.5. Now, Kirby has had a pretty disappointing season. 1-4, 5.4 ERA, but he was very good last start. 6 innings, 1 run against the Twins. The strikeouts, though, have been quite bad. He's had less than 6 strikeouts in 4 of the last 5 starts. He had a random 14 strikeout game against the Angels, which is a clear outlier at this point. But for Waka, he's been fine this season, 4-7, 3.33 ERA. Recently, though, not as good. He has given up at least 3 earned in 3 of his last 4 starts. I think Seattle's the better team. Kansas City is on the verge of losing again today. They're down 5-1 into the 9th inning, and they have been really bad. So if you want to include today's game, because they're probably going to end up losing to the Dodgers, they are about to lose 7 of 8. So they've been falling off a cliff. They can't hit. It's really not fluky. This team is regressing after making the playoffs last year. That Waka's good. Having said that, or I should say, I get that Waka's had a pretty good season, but he's not been good lately. I don't trust Kansas City to do anything offensively in this game. So I think I'm going to the under in this game. Waka's been fine. I once again think he might give up some runs, but I don't think Seattle's a great offense either. Raleigh's been carrying that offense for a while. But I think Kirby can go fine. I think Waka cannot get shelled, and I can see a lopsided game in favor of Seattle. But if this game ended like 5-1, something like that, it wouldn't shock me. But I see a couple ways to get the under, so I'll go with the under in this game.
Yeah, first total for me as well, and I totally agree. Under 7.5 at minus 120. It's probably the only thing I'd play in this game. My total came out to 7.1. I know a lot of people really haven't liked what they've seen out of George Kirby. You mentioned the strikeouts, but I think he's been fine outside
he's
of that.
Fine. It's just the ceiling was set high because he has been very good in years past.
100%. So. Outside of that one start against the Nationals at home, yeah, he was terrible that one. But outside of that, I agree. I think he's been fine. There are some underlining numbers too that indicate Kirby having some bad luck, and maybe we should start to see some positive regression from him, his field independence. So, and maybe that started. You mentioned his last start versus the Twins was really good. And I think Michael Waka has been solid, not terrible. He was much better last year on the road. 2 good pitchers, and you mentioned it, a Royals offense that just stinks. They're only averaging 3.3 runs per game. They can't hit the ball. Mariners, they actually average more runs on the road than they do at home. So I see like a 4-1, 3-2 type of game. So I don't expect a lot of runs either. I'm going to take the under 7.5.
Yeah, and moving on to the last game on the card, a matchup between the Giants and the Diamondbacks. Webb against Nelson. For the lines in this one, I see nothing. I don't know if you see any lines for this game, but the Diamondbacks are playing right now, so we're probably not going to get any lines. You see anything?
No lines.
Okay. So for this matchup, we know Webb has been much better at home, like most years. On the road, though, this season he has been better than normal, but not very good. 3.75 ERA compared to 1.52 at home. But usually Webb has an ERA in the 4s on the road, so he has been better in that area. But I am going to point out he has allowed less than 3 earned runs in 5 straight starts. Last 5 starts, 34 innings pitched, a 1.85 ERA. As for Nelson, he's had a weird season, but looking at the last couple of starts, he has been pretty good as well. He has allowed 2 earned runs in his last 3 starts combined. So I like the under in this matchup. The problem is the Diamondbacks bullpen stinks, and Nelson goes no distance. So I'll go with the first 5 under instead, whatever the number is going to be. Total should still be, I'd say, decently high, because it is in Arizona. So you're not going to get a 7.5 in Arizona. It might be 8.5 in this game anyway, just based on environment. Maybe you disagree with me, but it might be 8 or 8.5. I think it's going to be too high. I'll go with the first 5 under in this game.
Yeah, no lines. It is surprising that we don't have lines. I know we have pitchers. I mean,
Do you think we get a 7.5? Because I don't see that happening in Arizona.
I hope we get a 7.5 because I'm on the over. I set my total at 8.8. So I don't think we get an 8.5. I think we probably get a 9 usually, especially with the way games recently have been going for Arizona. 4 of the last 5 games have like gone into double digits. They've skied over. They've been an over machine lately, Arizona. And Webb is a little more susceptible to runs on the road than he is at home. At home, you got to back him. On the road, it's hit or miss right now. But I do think we'll see some runs. And you mentioned Ryan Nelson. It's very weird, on the road, you really don't want to back him. But at home, I think he's been pretty good. So I trust this offense. I think they'll be able to get to Webb. I hope they give you an 8.5, and then I would take the over. But if they give you a 9.5, then I would agree with Scott. I think the number got a little too high up there.
Yeah, conceptually, I can't imagine a 9 or 9.5 with Webb. So I'm assuming
Yeah.
it'll be probably around 8.5 juiced if I had to guess, but we'll see
Mhm.
what happens. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for all the games on the card for Monday. Time to move on into the lock and dog picks. For that, the reminder, they're brought to you by our sponsor, Orange Fantasy, because Best Mania is happening. And it's happening all summer long, giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million for first place. No waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Best ball is the best way to play fantasy football. Underdog is a great place to play pick'em as well. Sign up for a new account though with the code MLB SGPN to get a special pick and first time visit offer up to 1K in bonus cash on fantasy promo code MLB SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm because they just dropped the game-changing feature called Power Trends, where they are air detected patterns. Rhythm's models can help you make a consistent money and have a high ROI. They're also available every day, exclusive to Rhythm. No touts and noise. Just clean data back picks. Download the app, check out Power Trends, start betting smarter. They also have a free 7-day trial. Go to sportsgamepodcast.com/rhythm to get your 7-day free trial. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Finished going through the games for Monday. Time to move on into the lock and dog picks. Dylan, I'll let you go first. What's going to be your lock and dog for the show?
Yeah, so we'll start with my lock. I am going to go with that under in the Royals and Mariners game, under 7.5 minus 120. It's the bottom of the 10th, and Mariners only scored 3 runs. Offense for the Royals is not good either. You got 2 good pitchers who I think will serve, and we'll see a little better outing from George Kirby like his last start versus the Twins. So I'm going to take the under with those 2 pitchers and those offenses. As my lock, really wanted to take a reverse handicap and take the Pirates minus 1.5. See if we could get a nice plus play there, but I'll take the Rays. Are the Rays on the run line still a dog?
So let me just quickly check. Rays on the run line in this game is at, I see, plus 120.
Perfect. Yeah, with Drew Rasmussen on the mound, I know Jacob Lopez has been good, but at home against a team that struggling to hit the ball. I know they scored some runs today, but 235 on the year. I worry about their bullpen. I think the Rays get all on top of them. So minus 1.5 at plus 120. That'll be my dog of the day.
All right, so for the lock on the show, I had a couple options to go with, but I got to figure out which one I want to. Because I thought about going with that first 5 under in that A's game against Tampa. Because I think Lopez is actually really good watching him pitch, and Rasmussen's been good too. I don't know if I have a line, though, in the first 5, but I can guesstimate what it's going to be. I mean, the full game total's at 8.5, so I can probably get 4.5 in the first 5. I'll take that. Give me the first 5 under in that A's game. I think both starters are solid. I think that Rasmussen has been very good as well. He doesn't typically go more than 5, so I'll only back him for the sake of the first 5 here. Give me the first 5 under in this game as my lock. For my dog, I think Crochet is really good, but do I think that they should be laying this big of a price? No. Pittsburgh has some value, but Heaney's been really bad lately, so I don't want to take that. Baltimore is basically a pick 'em, so I can't do that either. I'm not going to take. I'm definitely not taking Seattle run line in that one. You know what? I think I'm going to swing for it just based on how bad the Red Sox have been lately. I'll go with the Reds money line for this game. It's going to sound dangerous because Crochet has been really good. I'm aware of it, but 190 for a Boston team that cannot hit to save their lives is definitely not the way to go about betting that game. Give me the Reds. They've been fine recently. They did beat San Diego in a series, beat the Yankees in a series. That was at home, but still, Boston's been terrible. and they're laying a massive price. So no offense to Crochet, who's been really good, but if he ends up getting pulled and you get yourself a very close game down the stretch, Boston's bullpen's horrible. So I think that there's a way the Reds can steal this game even if they're trailing. Give me a decent plus money price here. Give me the Reds money line at around plus 160 as my dog for the show. Anyway, it's going to wrap it up for the show. Dylan, anything else you want to add?
No, these are just the dog days of summer. I know baseball is usually the only thing going on during the week outside of the W, and we got fights. I know they're off this week, but yeah, these are the dog days of summer. So stick with us, and we're almost at All-Star break.
Yep, definitely.
Can't wait for that.
Definitely closer than once again I thought we were. But then again, I realized we're at the end of June, so that makes sense. I'm starting to see some posts and some comments during games by broadcasters to fill out your All-Star ballot, and I'm like, oh, we're at that point in the year. It didn't fully register at this point, but it's been fun. We're about halfway through the season. For example, Arizona is playing right now against Miami. They've played exactly 82 games. So we're about at the halfway point of the season. Either way, though, anything else you want to add or talk about?
No, we should be good. I know you and Adam are on tomorrow morning, so yeah, make sure you guys go check that out.
Yeah, knock on wood, I keep the streak rolling. I'm 11-0-1 in my last 12 props on that show.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see what happens. The one push, I'm really good at picking people that don't play. They just end up basically just not being in the lineup, and it's like, all right, what a waste of my time. But still, 11-0-1 run on the prop show, all free. Check out the prop show on Monday, on Wednesday, and on Friday mornings. But until next time, find me on Twitter as Radio. Find him on Twitter at Rock with 2Ks24. Until next time.